Okay, so I was watching this movie today, and there was a scene in the movie where these people are swimming, and in the movie, they're talking about how, like, freeing it is to swim, and how much liberation there is, whatever, in swimming. And they're kind of, like, in the movie making fun of, like, if you can't swim, then, like, you're missing out type of thing or whatever. Uh, which is it kind of like struck a chord with me because as embarrassing as it is to say, I never did learn to swim. So that actually, like, even when I tell people, like, to their face, they sort of laugh at me, like, in disbelief, like, as if you don't know how to swim. Like, I'm not a little kid anymore, so I should know. It's one of those basic life things that you should know by now. But, well, to take it back, basically, yeah, it's embarrassing. So I'll just say it up front. To take it back, so we're going back to, I was about like 6 or 7 years old. Now at the time, like, for a while my family was pretty good. But around that age, things started getting really chaotic in the household. My parents were just like fighting all the time. I think at that point they both knew, like, their marriage was over. So any type of little thing that would come up that would be annoying to the other person, even like the smallest little thing, would like turn into this full-blown argument. And like everything would just, the smallest things would turn into the biggest things. So basically, two people who do not want to live under the same roof, they don't want to have a relationship anymore. So that became blatantly obvious, and eventually, they went through they divorced. It was hard on myself at that age and my siblings, but my dad being like the one out of the two who he had a hard time sort of explaining his emotions or talking about emotional things. So he was more of like the doer type guy. So in order to still express his love for us, he would be like doing things. So this particular occasion, my dad, it was like we're going through the rough period here, so he wanted to sort of make my life a bit more fun at that age, obviously. Still put the good memories in there. So he had got this little boat. I guess it would be like a canoe. Yeah, a canoe. Borrowed it from one of his buddies, I guess, but it's like this beautiful old, like, wooden, handcrafted canoe. So he said, okay, one day we decided we're gonna take the canoe out. We went to this nearby park where you can launch off. And he like had a nice little picnic prepared for us, some food for us to eat. He brought like a little radio, like one of those ones with the long antenna, so we could like pick up a signal and listen to some music out there or whatever we could get on the radio. And so we had like a nice day planned. So I got in. I didn't really know how to canoe at all. We both got in. I didn't know how to canoe at all, so he's just like kind of trying to teach me as we go. So I did much of the work really, but it was really nice. It was really nice to sort of like be learning something new, and it was just enjoyable to be out with him on my own because it was hard to get that one-on-one time. So we set out. Beautiful day. Everything seemed to be going all right. What we didn't notice, though, was that there was an actual crack in the bottom of the canoe. And it, like, wasn't noticeable at first, but, like, once we set out, we went pretty far. So we kept going further. Didn't notice it. It was, like, under all the, supplies that we had brought. Then all of a sudden we start, like, seeing there's a little leak going on in the boat. we're like, what the hell, like, why is there water? We felt like water, thought maybe, you know, just from the ore or something, like some water had got him. Start moving the pile of our stuff, and we see this crack, right? So it's like, shit, we didn't think ahead to, like, bring any sort of emergency kit, I guess. So here we are out in the middle of nowhere, and the water's coming in faster and faster and faster. And it didn't look like that big of a crack, from, like, if you were to look at it, but it was enough to actually bring the water in. So I don't know, like, if he panicked or if I panicked, but, you know, like, if you're not sturdy in the canoe, obviously it can flip. It's filling up with water. It started to get rocky. We flipped, and so the canoe had toppled over. All of our shit was everywhere. We're, like, basically struggling underneath the canoe, and I'm freaking out because I didn't know how to swim, obviously. He's freaking out. He's trying to sort of feel for where I am. Luckily, this guy came by in, like, a speedboat type thing or something. He had saw that we flipped over, and I mean, I don't know exactly how long we were out there, but, I mean, like, with the canoe tipped over, but it felt like a really long time. Obviously, like, seconds can feel like fucking a long period of time in that situation. So the guy, I don't know how long we were flipped over for. The guy saw us, though, thank God, because we were, like, completely fucked. Like, literally, when I say we're far out, it's, like, middle of nowhere. You wouldn't think anybody else would be, like, boating by. So this guy came, thankfully, he, like, grabbed us both. I was, like, basically gasping for air. He pulled us aboard his boat and, you know, got us some blankets and towels, whatever. And he basically, like, in my opinion, like, rescued us that day, because I don't know what I myself would have done. I know my dad can swim somewhat, but I don't think that he would have been that strong of a swimmer to, like, get me and, like, swim with me all the way back to where we came from. I don't think that it would have happened that way. So, needless to say, I just sort of developed this fear over time. I became afraid of water, and honestly, I'm pretty sure so did he. We don't really talk about the time too often. As far as we get with the story is, like, the intention of the day, which was, you know, that gonna have this nice day out in the canoe. That's about as far as we get with the story. We kind of, like, leave the rest out for some reason, but I have developed a fear within myself, and I'll admit it. I'm afraid to go into water. Someday, maybe I'll try and, you know, do swimming lessons or something, but after that experience, there's really been no appeal for either of us. So that's my story of why I don't know how to swim. And, yeah, kind of embarrassing, but not everyone knows how to swim.